All right, guys, we're live with Will Hamilton, who has interviewed the best of the best. Will, you have like a million tips from the greatest pros out there, and tonight we're going to talk about what's actually helped your game.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to do this. A lot of great tips that I had to go through to sort of figure out to lift the top ones. But I just I decided to use the ones I used yesterday playing father-son doubles with my dad.
So that's pretty cool. We got one person, Robert, saying hello, and the people will be streaming in here momentarily.
Rob, what's up, man? How you doing?
And, so how often in a normal time, or even right now, how often are you playing tennis?
So now I'm playing more than I normally do, just because what else are you going to do? But I played I would say just, before COVID and everything, I was playing, let's say 3 times a week. Once, I play father-son doubles with my dad once a week. And then DC's actually got a lot of really good tennis players. There's a lot of former D1 guys. There's a lot of just, I don't know if they played college or not, but they're a little bit older, maybe, 40s, 50s, 60s. But like Danny Waldman is #1 in the world in the 60s, I think. I mean, that guy can ball. So it's just a good tennis community. So I'll play with them otherwise. And it's a good group.
That's awesome. Hey guys, come in and say hello. I see that we already got 68 people on. Bam, just like that. Happens fast, Will. And so since it happens fast, now you're in DC with my buddy Maribon, who knows nothing about the history of music. He says he only knows rap.
Okay.
And last night we had Gigi Fernandez on, who said she did not know anything about music. She was super nervous.
Okay.
She nailed it. We played Every Breath You Take by the Police.
Okay. Well, that'd be your generation, though, wouldn't it? Grew up in the 80s.
Yeah. She said she wouldn't know. She said she only knew
because Every Breath You Take, the original is the Police, but then P. Diddy, obviously, More Money, More Problems.
You're already gonna nail it. I just can tell.
That's like the only. That was total happenstance. I don't know anything else.
All right, here we go, Will. Let's see. This is a classic.
All right.
This is a classic. I'm going to bet that you will know this. Let me know when you know it.
Oh, that's Michael Jackson.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I know the song. I know the song. I just don't remember who it's by.
He can't name it, guys. You give up?
Sure.
That is "Fortunate Son" by CCR. Have you ever heard of that?
There's no way I was gonna guess that.
No way you're gonna get that.
No way. No.
All this
more in the Mirabon, 90s rap I'll get, because that's when I was growing up. I'm on top of that. More recent stuff, not so much.
Yeah. Look at this. Christopher knew it. See, the thing is all this music trivia, it just keeps showing how old I am. It's not really an indictment of you, Will. It's just that I'm old. Really?
So I didn't know that CCR was short for. Obviously I know Clearance, Creedence Clearwater. Clearly, I'm a music expert. I know who that is, but the abbreviation, I'm not that much of an expert. If you want to ask me about Marvel movies, I can tell you those.
Next time we'll have a Marvel movie.
That I'd be on top of.
Or you can stump me with something. Okay.
Scott, what's up, man? Good to see you.
It's good. Oh, Scott Levy's always.
Yeah. We both know Scott.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Last time I saw Scott was at U.S. Tennis Congress. That was a couple years ago, I think.
That's right.
Good to see him.
Totally obsessed with tennis. Guys, Brad Isaac is awesome. He loves tennis. Actually, he came out to Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and we had dinner together. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
That's how awesome you guys are. We're already at 119. I think we might be ahead of last night. Last night, we ended up with 217 people on, Will. It was amazing.
Nice.
We had your friend, Gigi Fernandez. Tell us what it's like working with Gigi.
Gigi was great. I actually met her at the U.S. Tennis Congress, I think 2015. We were seated at a table together just by, PJ Simmons, the guy who organizes it, just sat us next to each other. So we got to chatting. And this was before she had done anything online. She She was teaching her GG method and all her sort of tips and tricks that she had adapted from the Pro Tour to our level, but was doing it in person. So we just talked about, hey, maybe we could put this online. And about 6 months later, we did a film shoot. So put it all together, the GG method, which is floating around in cyberspace now.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Actually, last night, that reminds me. Last night, guys, the people who we had a special bonus, we had GG special link. Last night, we had a bunch of people take advantage of that when they got TennisCon, where you got the GG method. I sent out an email to the list at 4 p.m. today. So let me know if you feel like you ordered on GG special link and you did not get the bonus. Email me. I'll put my email address right here in the comments. Email me at crunchtimecoaching@gmail, and I'll make sure you get that special bonus. But don't, it's the honesty code here. You have to make sure that you bought off GG's special link, and I will make sure that you get that because I just want to make sure. Did you guys have a good day at TennisCon today? Did you guys get to watch Monday? What did you think? Let me know. And let me tell you what's going on right now. If you're late, join in. We got 151 people on. This is awesome. Will is also going to have a special link tonight. He's giving away a really cool bonus of videos that I don't believe anybody's seen. And you probably have seen Will's videos. They're amazing. He's worked with Martina Navratilova, Pat Rafter, the Bryan brothers, Gigi Fernandez, and he's awesome on that board. And then he'll send you his playbook in the mail. And it's really, really cool. I've actually been to people's homes who have the playbook sitting on their coffee table. So that's really, really neat to see.
They turned it into a coaster.
They turn it into a coaster. The dog eats it.
Who cares about the instruction? This is just, I don't want my nice table to get coffee stains.
Mm-hmm. But what you may not know is that Will, through working with all these people, he actually plays a lot of tennis. I don't know if you guys know that Will is one of the coaches who loves to still play a lot. He plays about 3 times a week, if you didn't hear us when we started. And he feels that his Will self today would step into the ring with college Will and eat him for lunch. And he feels this because he's been able to work with these awesome legends, and he's going to reveal the top 5 tips that he thinks about when he goes and plays a match and he wants to beat up on you on the court. So Will, why don't you give us like the first tip or how you're going to run this tonight?
Yeah. Well, I thought, I know a lot of people, and you can leave it in the comment actually too. I was going to talk about doubles just because I think I don't know about your audience, but probably I'd say 60-40 on balance for my audience is doubles versus singles. So I did doubles tips, but if somebody wants to talk about some singles too, I can wing that. Because I play both. I play singles and doubles, but I think for a lot of players, like I don't know about you, Peter, like I am like a recovering singles player. You start with singles and then you switch to doubles. So yeah. I'd say the breakdown is 1 day of singles a week and then 2 days of doubles is typically what I do. And in college, I was a completely hopeless doubles player. Just didn't know anything about like where to stand, terrible volleys, didn't understand the strategy, couldn't anticipate what was about to happen, because I think in doubles, anticipation is a lot more important than, not to say it's not important in singles, but it's incredibly important, and I think more important to a degree in doubles. So I really wasn't that good as a doubles player until about a decade ago. And I'm 38 now, and it was when I first started working with the Bryan brothers. Very first time we worked together, the stuff they were talking about, I had never heard of it before. I was like, wow, this blew, the stuff they're doing blew me away. So that was sort of why I kept pursuing professional players, whether it's GG or Pat Rafter or Martina, is because they always say something you just never thought of before. I'm a pretty good tennis player. I was on a D1 team, Davis in college, and I know, like, I was like, okay, well, if I didn't know this stuff, I think there's a lot of players out there who didn't play in college, who just play USTA league and club matches that wouldn't necessarily heard of this either. So with that long-winded, what would you call that? Prologue? Is that?
Yeah.
That's the beginning of the Epilogue's the end, right? And prologue's the beginning.
Yeah, it's the setup. It's the beautiful
setup. There you go. Yeah, exactly. And Ken says, you're left-handed, Pete. I'm left-handed.
That's right.
It's just I'm trying to follow the chat. Exactly. I want to make a frying pan serve. Man. You didn't get any body into that serve. That was all arm.
What's that?
That serve was all arm, man. You gotta rotate.
Oh, I know. I gotta do the what do you guys call that? You and Kovacs?
Twist rotation.
The twist rotation.
Yeah.
And you pick up the tennis ball.
Yep.
I actually made a 30 power secrets for this where people get that free. Okay, cool. And yeah, this like 1 minute tip. And I talked about you and Dr. Mark Kovacs going down to pick up the ball, and throw it. So we actually honored you a couple times.
Well, I honor Marky Mark. It's not me. I just, he's he's the scientist. I just regurgitate.
You did a beautiful job, though.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
On that video.
It took me several takes to actually be able to bend down and pick the ball up properly.
Well, I actually said, well, Will's going down and picking up. I put it on a chair. I said, if you have a bad back like me, you can use a chair.
It's true. I mean, it's hard to actually bend all the way down like that and pick that thing up. So the chair or a tennis can, a ball of like a can.
Yeah.
You could do that too. Might not want to throw it though.
We got 193 people on before you started.
Nice.
And also, I see we have David Lee on, who we did Tennis Express trivia last night. I gave him a $100 gift card. And David, I did email you that gift certificate right before we went on. So again, man of my word. All right, Will, take us to tip number 1.
Okay, cool. So tip number 1 is one I learned from Pat Rafter. And this will actually work for both singles and doubles because it's just a serve tip. And so you can go, if you go look up like an old Pat Rafter match on YouTube, and if you find a segment when he's serving and they're tight on him, not when they're like, how they pull back from the back, the TV angle, that's not what you want to look for. What he does is he'll step up to the line and he has this little pause right after he bounces the balls. He's got the racket against the ball against the racket, and there's just this slight pause. It's a split second. And so he said to me, that little split second, I am visualizing in my head my entire service motion, hitting the tennis ball, and I'm visualizing it flying through the air, bouncing where I'm aiming it, and then that's basically the end of his visual, up to when it gets to his opponent, and then that's the end of it. But he said, so he came up in the 90s. And he said in the 80s they did a study about 2 groups of people. One were basketball; they were shooting foul shots. Well, one practiced foul shots for a week, and then the others just visualized it for a week. And then I think the visualization people, I might be messing this up, actually did better than the people who actually just practiced it.
Yeah.
So anyway, the top level, Pat says, when you visualize what you're doing, it gets you out of your own head. You stop having thoughts about your technique and all these other things that'll interfere with your service motion. And so if you can see it in your head, then all the technique you've been trying to implement tends to fall into place better, right? As opposed to bend your knees, release the toss at eye level, make sure the toss isn't spinning, all that stuff. The Bryans actually said the exact same thing. They said, think in pictures, not words, about the service motion in particular. So that's sort of another way to think about it, is think in pictures, not words. But I would just add just a split second visualization right before you go into your service motion. Try that. It might quiet you down a little bit and get you a little bit more relaxed. And worked for me. It's great, I rarely double fault, but I also hit like a lot of kick serves. So.
And Rafter had an amazing kick serve. In fact, I'm going to be daring here, Will. We'll see how it works. You can kind of let me know. You can be my eyes and my ears if it's coming through good or crappy. So I'm going to share the screen. And it looks like somebody found your video. This is definitely a Will Hamilton video. Okay, so
this is when I had a haircut. I haven't gotten a hair. I haven't had any film shoots, so there's no reason to cut my hair.
No, but
yeah.
Can you see that?
Yep, I got it.
So here it is, and you can you see even before the video starts, we see the pause, and we'll just hopefully the video will play here in the next year.
Yeah, this is a slow motion one.
Yeah, look at that. And so he's got that nice pause. Look at that.
Yeah, and so the thing that was actually really interesting when we were doing this shoot is I said to him, on a break, I said, Pat, if I set up a little ball target, the 3 balls with the one on top, like little ball pyramid, do you think you could hit it? And he's like, well, let's find out, mate. So I set one up for a first serve, but it was it was like, we're looking at the screen. It was a deuce court, wide serve, but several feet inside, up from the service line, like a very difficult target.
Somewhere around here-ish.
Yeah, exactly. And so he gets up and he serves and misses it by about this much. And then he's like, all right, hang on. Let me go through my entire service routine, including the visualization. And so he went through the whole thing. He did the whole pause and he nailed the ball target on his very next serve, hitting like 115 miles an hour. I mean, it was one of the more incredible things I've ever seen.
That is
on a time like that. But it just goes to show, you add the little mental component to your service motion, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Pat Rafter seemed like a good mate, huh? He's
a great dude
to work with.
Oh, he was great. He was great. One of the we had a hitting partner named Damon Gooch, who was probably about 1,000 in the world at the time. He's actually in DC. Really good player, but he's from South Africa. So they were the ones that really hit it off, because on every break, all they were doing was watching rugby clips on YouTube. That was, I was like, man, I want to be part of this. Feel left out. But yeah, Pat was great. He's a great guy. He's exactly what you would expect. Just very, very chill, very cool, fun to talk to. Just a great guy. Spent a lot at that facility, the Sunrise facility. There were a lot of kids. About 100 kids doing a camp on the courts over, and he went over afterwards and talked for 20 minutes, just kind of telling them about the Pro Tour and answering any questions. He's a good dude. Good dude.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Will, you broke Gigi's record, I think. I think last night our record was 217. We're at 227.
There we go. Gotta
and
get that W, man. Right.
Yeah, she's probably she's competitive. Gigi's, as you know.
She is competitive. I've noticed.
So she's probably already gone. Let me back on. All right. Anyway, that was tip number 1. That was really good. Tell us. So guys, remember that when you go out and play, visualize before you go and serve. And what is tip number 2 that you feel really helps you in your matches?
And I tried to do these in order, by the way. So another way to think, I tried to do tips in order of 1 point that you would play. Okay. So this is going to be, we're just going to say for the purposes of this, you are serving, and you actually, now you're going to be never mind. You're serving in the ad court. So obviously your partner's at the net. We're talking about doubles. So that would be the tip for the serve itself. Now, where you're going to aim that serve, again, this is doubles, is body backhand. So just visualize ad court. Okay, I'm hitting kind of body, but towards the outside, a righty's backhand a little bit. And really, you want to think of it more as a body serve, because what you want is you want your opponent, from your perspective, moving to the left, moving towards the center of the court, but hitting a backhand. So they're going to have to, I'm trying to, I don't know if me talking this way is going to visually show it properly, but it would be, court is this way. Yes, he's reversing. I'm not, the video might screw it up.
Well, you know what? I've got a crappy board. I've got the crappy board. Will's got the big board. I'm going to go get the crappy board for you. Okay. I'm getting the crappy board.
Yeah, so let me the idea basically is you're serving body, and then you want them to move to the middle to hit a backhand, because they have to pull it cross court for the most part.
So
there you go. So
you are serving to the ad court, and you're trying to get it to kind of go like that, right?
No. So so let's assume bad guys, the villains are on that, exactly. They're at the top of the court. So there, your finger is the returner. You want them moving in towards the middle of the court. Yeah, exactly, like that, but hitting a backhand, right? Yeah, for a right, exactly. And when they do that, they're going to have to pull it cross court. The ball is going to go, their return is going to go cross court. Yeah, it's very difficult to hit that ball down the line. So when you see that, as a server, obviously you want to tip your partner off, hey, I'm going body, and if they move like this, poach. But if you're at the net, then it's the same thing. If you just see it, you don't even need to communicate with your partner. If you see it, you should just go straight to the net strap. Exactly. Go to the middle of the court. That is like 100%. You should basically poach every single time you see that. If your opponent's good and they wise up and recognize it, then they might try and go down the line. And if they beat you, cool, it happens, but just the math is going to be in your favor. You'd win that 4-1, if not better.
Will, let me know if you need me to send you that board. I know.
Yeah, no, please do. I overnight it. I'm going to let you answer. At Krolnick asked, who should we be visualizing, Pete, Will, or Jeff when serving? I'm going to let you answer that one, Pete.
Clearly, I have the best serve out of everybody. No, I mean, I think it's really. I think you pick who you like to watch. I love to watch everybody who's online. That's why I do TennisCon, and I learn stuff from everybody. And so it's really.
We're talking about the service method.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff's obviously got an amazing serve. You got
to visualize your own service motion.
Visualize your own motion. Yeah, but I do like.
That's what he actually does. That's what Raptor actually does. He sees his own serve. You got to see your own serve when you visualize it.
I think that's a good point. Although one of the things I think made me a good player at an early age is I basically went out and pretended I was different people every day, and I think that helped me a lot.
Oh, did it? When you actually were visualizing someone else?
When I was a kid, yeah. I mean, I was a certain player every day, and you just couldn't tell me I wasn't. And I think that definitely helped me pick up things quickly because I was good at mimicking things, and I think that helped me. So, anyway, that was a great tip, and I do want to compliment you while we're on live together because you are right. There's lots of times where you are giving a doubles tip. I love how you break it down to where you're like, when the ball goes here, every time go, it's going there, and. There's lots of times where I'm like, oh, I never really thought about it like that. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I mean, I played a lot of instinct and you kind of know the basics of doubles, but you definitely come up with little things from working with these legends where I'm like, oh, I guess that would definitely work. Now you mention it like that.
It's just, honestly, it's just trying. This isn't necessarily, I mean, the pros, one of the things that I've been lucky enough to work with ones that are really good at just saying very simple stuff. It's not complicated. It's just, and that's just generally what I've been trying to do with our instruction is to make it simpler. I mean, particularly some of my older stuff was way too complicated. Yeah. So it's just a learning process of how do you say something very simply, and don't get bogged down into the weeds. But yeah, I mean, the tips also like that, they mesh really well with Craig O'Shaughnessy, if y'all are familiar, is the stats, he's like the Billy Bean of tennis. He's the stats guy. And if you just look at the numbers, you don't need to win every single point. You just need to win. I mean, 55 is the magic number in tennis, but if you're winning, because if you win that amount, you're the best player at your level. So you're just winning a little bit more than half. So you just have to, these cues and tips and plays, if you're just winning most of them, that's what you're going for. So if you get burned down the alley, yeah, you don't want that. But as long as you're winning most of the points where you're aggressive at the net, then you're going to come out a winner.
Yeah.
So that's why. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Will, right now you're working on this kind of thing here and you have new videos. I understand tonight, I think it's time to let the cat out of the bag. We have 232 people. I've got a special link I'm about to pop in. And if they do, you have a really cool bonus if they purchase off Will's special link. And you've got some really cool stuff. Tell us about what people can get from you if they buy off your link tonight.
Yeah, so the last time, this is technically not true. I got a haircut, a trim. I was like, let's just see what happens if I don't cut my hair for a year, and I don't think it's working, but if I'm ever going to try it, I might as well do it during shelter in place and stuff like that. But before all of that, in March, we filmed with the Bryan brothers. Literally the tournament got canceled. Then the next day we filmed with Bob and Mike. And one of the things we filmed was 15 plays that we had never, new plays, stuff we hadn't shared. And then it's just been sitting on the shelf because, our original plans got completely derailed. So I was like, okay, this stuff's sitting on the shelf. It's awesome. So why don't we just hook everybody up at TennisCon So that's the bonus, 15 plays. It's with Bob and Mike. It's not, I mean, I'm on the court, but it's Bob and Mike explaining it. It's videos with them. It's not on like the dry erase board or anything like that. We were at La Quinta in SoCal, where the BNP Paribas Open is. So this stuff is great. I mean, some of the stuff they do on the return of serve in particular is like, again, it was like, wow, this stuff is like pretty incredible. I'll add a bonus tip that I just thought of, which is one of the things they mentioned to me when we worked together. But yeah, that's the bonus. So it's on the list. Peter will inform me somehow.
Yeah. Well, I can even send it. I can basically get you don't have to lift a finger, Will. You just tell you just get the login stuff.
Exactly what I want to hear.
I know, Will. I know. And so I will send you guys an email tomorrow, probably around 3 or 4. Like the day you guys, I get really, really busy. I get up at like 5 in the morning, just it's nonstop. But
that sounds terrible.
I know. Anyway, Will, one thing that's kind of cool, you giving this away, it's like Prince's Vault. It's like all this unreleased gold that you're giving away. It's pretty amazing. So thank you for doing that.
It's better than collecting digital dust,
So number 2.
I'll get this is number 3.
Number 3.
Before I will acknowledge Tom, who said he's just glad I shaved. I didn't shave for like 4 months or 3 months, and it was just horrible. Just everybody was getting the shelter in place beard, and it just looked so bad. But then I made a video with it before I shaved it, because why not?
I remember that video. It scared the hell out of me.
It was so gross. Like bird nests in that thing and everything. All right. I'm glad. I'm sure everybody wanted to hear that. All right. So the third. Okay. Yeah. So typically when you're the term poaching is typically how people refer to like going and getting a ball that wasn't intended for them. But a poach is where you actually cross the center service line and go onto your partner's side of the court. And one of the things that I learned from Bob and Mike is this move they have just called the pinch. And the pinch is like, think of it like half of a poach. It's basically you're just kind of going to imagine just going to the net strap, right? Where you go to the middle of the court, you get close to the net, you stand on the center service line. And this is as your opponent's hitting, right? So they hit. So the timing is the same as a poach. You just don't go as far. And what you're trying to do there is just pick off any balls that aren't hit great, that are just sort of hanging through the middle. It's like baseball, right? I mean, you're a Braves fan. I'm a Nationals fan. So it's like a hanging pitch, right?
Yeah.
If somebody hangs a fastball, a batter's going to send that over the fence. But if somebody hangs a middle ball, you only get it if you have pinched, right? So it's a move that allows you to take advantage of those hanging fastballs, so to speak. And you're just sliding to the middle of the court. And you don't always do it. Like if your team has hit a shot where your opponents could go anywhere, they could go line, they could lob you, they could rip it at you, then you wouldn't do it. Then you might make a different move. But if you guys hit a decent, like deep ball, that would be a good time to pinch.
Do you see? I told you to be competitive.
Oh,
Gigi,
man.
Did beat you.
Sorry, Gigi, I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't really, sorry, not sorry. Like, what am I supposed to say? Hi, Gigi.
Gigi, you were fantastic last night. And
I heard you were just mediocre.
All right, so the pinch is pretty cool, and I bet you people probably like that because they don't have to feel like they have to like dart all the way across, kind of thing.
And Gigi, speaking of a time you shouldn't pinch, this is one of the great things I learned from her. Maybe she shared it last night, but this was a really good insight. Also in she's blaming it on the football.
Gigi, you come back anytime.
Blaming it on the football and the baseball. But one of Gigi's, one of the great things I learned from Gigi was ad court. If instead of like sliding to hit a backhand, the person steps towards the alley to hit a forehand, maybe she said this yesterday, that very likely could go down the line. And so then you would not pinch. You would stay. You might fake.
So if this person moved this way to hit a forehand,
yeah, they could pull that. They could yank that down the line. Yeah, and that is a Gigi Fernandez insight.
So, and I would add with the pinch, make sure you're kind of pinching forward this way. If
Yeah,
you're
that's the pinch.
off.
The pinch. Yeah, exactly. Get closer to the net.
Yeah.
And then the good thing is if you're regularly pinching and then you see someone slide to hit a forehand like that, you can fake the pinch and then cover the alley. They might hit it right at you. So that's a good one for, like, if the more active you are at the net, you have a lot of opportunities to goad someone to hit at you, right? Because they start trying to figure out what you're going to do. So you can start faking and then they'll just hit the ball right at you.
And as far as the timing to go to pinch, is it when you see the hip start to do that? Does that tip you off, or is it like literally on contact and then you're trying to go?
Honestly, a lot of the time, I kind of, when they start committing, when their racket comes down to swing, but a lot of the time, like if they're moving to the middle of the court, sometimes I go pretty early. Just because I almost want them to try and change their swing halfway through. If they're moving and I'm cutting off, that shot they're trying to pull cross court, I almost want them to try and go down the line and change their shot mid shot and make a mistake. But yeah, if I'm like faking, I'm going to go like obviously too early sometimes because I want them to try and hit to where they think the hole is going to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of that's like cat and mouse, where you're, depending on who you're playing and whether you play with them a lot. Like if you have a group of friends that you play with, like you tend to pick up on tendencies, and then it becomes like a layer more of nuance.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, a good time is just when they commit to the swing. Like when the racket drops and they're swinging forward, that's a pretty good. I mean, like a lot of the time, if you move too late, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
So my general rule is I move a little bit early, and then if it's too early, then I kind of tone it down for the next time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to. I want more aggression, less caution, right? I want to start at aggression and then dial it down if I have to, not the other way around.
Right. And
I don't want to start cautious.
There's nothing wrong with getting passed every once in a while. It's okay.
Well, especially if it's the flow of a match. If you're hyper aggressive at the beginning of a match, it's not going to necessarily cost you because it's early in the match, right? You can maybe afford to lose points in a way where you might not be able to later in a match where it's tighter, and you like have to hold or something like that. And just earlier in a match, people's returns tend to not be dialed in. That's another good one. Is I almost always poach on the very first second serve my partner hits in a match. Very first second serve.
On the very first second serve your partner hits, you're going.
Every time I poach. Mm-hmm.
And why is that? What's the reason?
Because it's early in the match. It tends to happen in the first game. People are still trying to figure out their returns. They're trying to get grooved, and it's just completely unconventional. It's like who poaches on a second serve, and again, it's in that first service game. People are trying to get their returns typically warmed up and dialed in. Mm-hmm.
We had a question, Ken, who's got a really cool thumbnail there. Very cute, Ken. What are your thoughts about ratcheting up power on the ground strokes in doubles? Do you typically hit harder in doubles than you do in singles, or not?
It depends on the shot. Give you an example. If I'm returning, I play a lot in the deuce court. So if I hit a decent return, other players serving and volleying, I get it low, pop it up, and they pop it up, and it's like a little bit short, and I can step in. I will either wail on that ball, and I'm not aiming for like a narrow target. I'm just hitting it hard, either at someone or through the middle, or I'll try and dip it and get it to dive below the net. So they have to hit the ball up, and then hopefully my partner goes and gets it. Mm-hmm. But I will hit the ball pretty hard if I'm at the baseline trying to hit a ground stroke, because otherwise, guys are going to put it away.
Yeah.
It depends a little bit on your level. But a great play is if you are returning serve, even a first serve, depending on your level. I mean, I'm playing at the 5-0 level, and you still get some serves where you can go after a first serve and certainly a second serve. But a lot of the times I go straight at the net player. You get a lot of players that are making slight positioning mistakes. They might be standing too far back. You get some that just have bad volleys, like you have like singles players, like they you probably play with singles players who just love they serve and they stay back, which is totally fine if they're setting up their partner to hit a volley at the net, but they are not themselves comfortable at net. So when their partner's serving and they're at the net, a lot of the times, especially if the server is a really good volleyer, I'll just go straight at the net player.
And I notice I'll get out my board, Will, this fantastic board, and I noticed I watch the Bryan brothers more because of you, actually, knowing that you've worked with them so much. So I'm trying to see what they're doing. And I noticed that one thing the Bryan brothers do love to do, because we're always taught, go cross court, but they really like to, when they can, especially second serves and things like that, they start ripping at the net person. And then you talk about pinching the other Bryan brothers right here, and it just shrinks the court. This person starts to think like, I got nowhere to go. And a lot of people think if they come over here that this is wide open, but if you move your body the right way, this actually feels all closed off, and you feel like you just got this little place to hit in, and the pressure is mounting because this person can't wait to see a little weak volley and eat your lunch. Isn't that right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you return it, even a well-positioned returner's partner, if you hit it at them, if you hit a decent shot, if they don't hit a clean volley, maybe it's short, they might pop it up. Your net partner, if they are positioned properly, will get that ball. Mm-hmm. So they'll put it away. And if not, they got to hit it right back at you, right? They got to volley it back at you. And if they pop it up or don't hit a good shot, you're gonna get it the next time. I mean, one of the things you can see a lot is you can see the net player, if they know that you're gonna go to them, they start getting close to the net because then they can hit a better volley, and then you can just start lobbing them. Because if they're that tight on the net, then it's pretty easy to lob. You don't have to hit a great lob. Yeah. To get it over. So it's actually, that one is really like there's the typical of, and you neutralize them as a poacher, right? Because if they think that you're going to go down the line a lot, they stop moving. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the times when I play dubs, I hit every single return straight at the net player for the first 2 games.
Wow.
I like the quality of the server. If the server is really good, then you can't do that. You can do it.
I like this shot by Maureen, where she says, "What about the drop shot on second serves?" I think that's a good play, especially like a little more of a punch shot, maybe than a touch drop shot. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it depends. It would depend on what kind of. So server stays back. You hit. It's on the second serve. It's on the second
serve. Maureen's coming in. She's hitting the little dropper.
Yep. Yeah. If you got it. So the thing got to be worried about there is if the net partner will cross on that. Because if you hit a drop shot and they're poaching, and they probably won't poach on a second serve, but if they're poaching, they're going to put that away. Yeah. So what you can do is throw in. This is on the deuce court. You can throw in, particularly. You can do it on the ad court too. But you can, if you start showing, like telegraphing the drop shot, you can start lobbing too. Lobbing the net player. So if you can alternate between those two where they don't know which one you're going to hit. Yeah, on the deuce court, this is particularly good, especially if you got an aggressive partner, because if you lob down the line, it's going to be over a righty's backhand shoulder, and a backhand overhead is like the hardest shot to hit. So that one is really, really effective.
The parachute.
I would mix it up. I do both.
The parachute, right, Will? That's the
parachute. Yeah, that's what we call it. Parachutes when it's. Because you don't really, it's kind of like the tennis ball has like a little parachute attached to it. It's kind of slowly coming down. You don't really care if they hit it, as long as if they get it. Like you don't need to get it over their head as long as it is just a backhand overhead.
Yeah, then this person can come clean house.
Yeah, the ball is probably going to go cross court. A backhand overhead is going to come back through the middle of the court.
Yep, right there. Clean house there.
Yep.
See, and a lot of awesome plays tonight. And I do like, how about we come up with a new term, Will? I do like Maureen's idea about a drop shot, but like, you're right. You don't want to like float it over there because then this person's going to go get it. How about we call it like the pinch drop shot? It's like kind of like that little Fed shot, like put a little bit of, oomph into it, make it skid low here. And people don't lose
clean drop shot, or if it would be like you would slide it, where like you don't really care if they get to it. It's just going to be low, and they're going to have to hit up on the next one.
Gigi, how's this technique?
I mean, this is hard to watch. This is don't ever do that again, Peter. No one wants to see that. No one wants to see that. Dude, you just dumped that shot in the net.
Will is like, what have I gotten myself into?
That was a loose wrist. You dropped your wrist. That was terrible. What are you doing?
What? All right. Hey, anyway, guys.
Hold on.
What do you got?
There was some. Oh yeah, Brad had a question earlier about moving when their eyes go down.
Yes.
That I wanted to address. So that is like that's like a small thing to look for that I think would be hard to keep track of. I tend to look for like bigger indicators, and so the thing I'm looking for, and I use air quotes because you don't want to look at your partner. Obviously, you will know as soon as you hit the ball, but it's more, what is the quality of the shot you just hit? Before your opponent ever touches the tennis ball, basically when the ball bounces on the other side of the court, and if you're hitting it as soon as it leaves your strings, you're going to know how good that shot is. So that is my first, like, okay, I probably am going to be able to go on this one, or maybe it's going to, there's, they're going to be able to step in and rip this, then I'm going to fake, or I'm just going to get ready for a reflex volley or something like that. So that's the first thing I look for, is how good of a shot has my team hit. And then I'm going to look to how my opponent is moving to get to it. It's not the eyes. I look to how are they physically moving to get to the tennis ball. That is your biggest tell. Is how are they moving to the, are they getting out of the way to hit a backhand? Are they moving to hit a forehand? Are they moving forward? Is the racket dropped? Are they moving back? That'll give you way more information than anything else.
Yeah, very cool. Hey guys, if you like these lives, tomorrow night, I'm also going to be live with Jorge Capistani, and he's going to be talking about mental toughness. And Jorge, I believe, is the only pro. Will knows a lot about tennis. Maybe you can back me up on this. He's the only pro who's won the USPTA and PTR Pro of the Year, and he's one of the very few pros in the world who's a master pro in both organizations. This guy is like awesome. And
I think you're right about it. I mean, Jorge is the man. Love that guy. He knows more about how to construct drills that actually, will allow you to learn strategy or fix your technique than probably anybody I know. I mean, the dude's gifted like that.
This live stream is amazing. We got Will dropping knowledge bombs. Then Gigi's coming in with tips on the side. And one thing too, guys, I don't know if you noticed, I'm putting Will's special link in. Please click on that link, and I will email you his bonus tomorrow, probably around 3 or 4 o'clock, where you can get 15 plays with the Bryan brothers. These are plays that no one's seen, that's sitting in the vault that Will has, that he filmed out at Indian Wells. And I'll tell you what, the Bryan brothers are freaking great coaches. They love to teach. That's what they love to do. I've watched a lot of their videos, and they really like to teach people. So it's going to be good. Yeah. Bob and Mike are I almost got spoiled working with them, because they were the first person other than myself. And I've worked with a lot of, whether it's pros or just prominent coaches, but they were so good at explaining stuff. I just assumed everybody was as good, So I was like, wait, why aren't you living up to Bob and Mike? The other person who obviously is exceptional, and I'm not saying this just because she is on the live, is Gigi, because she has worked with so many club players, USTA League and club players afterwards, that she had just distilled everything down she was doing on the tour. So that club player, like she just said, like as you age, do the planned poaches. Like that is a perfect example where when you're a pro and in your 20s or 30s, sometimes you're just like, oh, I can get this, But as you get older and maybe lose a step, you got to start planning some of this stuff out to make sure you still get to the ball. So Gigi's on point. Thanks, Gigi. Yep. Appreciate it. Appreciate the shout. Well, this is not a tennis question, but something I'm curious about. The first time you're walking, you're walking across the field, or you're walking to the court, or meeting the Bryan brothers, or Gigi Fernandez, or Martina Navratilova, and you're going to do the shoot. What is that feeling like? How nervous are you? I got to interview, Newcomb, Laver, all that. I mean, every time I'm like going to meet them for the first time, I'm like, the butterflies are going. Same thing with you, Gigi. First time I was emailing you and on a live stream, I was super nervous. Do you get nervous, or are you just like, I'm Buzzy L balls, man, no big deal?
I mean, holla at your boy. Exactly. Like, no, I was, the Bryans were the ones that I was really nervous about originally, because it was the first pros I had ever worked with. So there was the combination of like, famous people, that kind of like star power, but then there was also like from a professional standpoint, like I can't screw this up, like if I screw this up, I'm never gonna be able to do this again. So there was that added pressure. But they were, I mean, I met them at a World Team Tennis thing. Like we hadn't stepped on the court yet. It was the night before. And I got introduced to Mike, and I was like a little awkward. I mean, I don't think he even would have noticed, even though I was nervous. But he gave me his phone number, and he's just like, call me if something comes up. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow, whatever. So I took his phone number down, and then later that night, I butt dialed him by accident. So he didn't pick up, but then he texted me back, and it was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Sorry, butt dial. I'll see you tomorrow at 9." So that was it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, afterwards, you're still like, "Oh my gosh, it's Gigi, it's Martina, it's Pat." But I was less nervous. Would be the I mean, it would be like nervous, like it would be like an important match, even though you're confident that you can play well. If that makes sense. You're like, it's almost more excitement. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's amazing, and it's cool when you start talking like, oh, they're actually really awesome. They're a really awesome person. Yeah. So, what is our next tip?
Where are we? Next official tip.
I think that was 4. We got one more golden tip.
I'm opening it. I put them on my phone, so I take notes on my phone, so I had to unlock it. Oh, okay. So we I think we're going through. Oh, well, whatever. This one's we're going to merge these two. So there was the question of well, this would go with the drop shot one. Actually, that was it. Meredith that asked that earlier.
Yes,
the drop shot. So that's actually, so let's say you pull someone in, which is a great tactic. Or if you're like, if you guys are 2 up and your opponents are 1 up, 1 back, and you're hitting at the baseline player, if they hit you, like let's say a volley that's like, let's say they hit like a pretty good ground stroke, and it's like lowish, it's not one you can stick and end the point. Volleying it short and low, Martina Navratilova calls it the Newt Volley, so that you have to pull the baseline player forward to get to it, and they have to hit a low ball, is an awesome shot to hit. She calls it the Newt Volley, N-E-W-T, because she calls it like a little lizard that's like a nothing, it's like a nothing volley. So the trick though is it's short and it's got to stay low. If it's high, then you're gonna get destroyed. But yeah, I mean, even deeper than that. I mean, they can be hitting in no man's land. You can. It doesn't have that. Like, it doesn't have to be like drop shot. You don't care if they get to it. Like even in the middle of no man's land is fine. It's fine as long as you're just pulling them forward. Really, the goal is more, are they moving forward to hit a low ball? That's kind of what you're going for. So like, obviously the closer the net, the better, but that's less of a thing than just, are they hitting up? You want them to hit up on the tennis ball.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And so when they do that, the next tip would be whatever volley you get, unless it's an absolute like kill shot where you just end the point, volley it straight back at them, but land it at their feet. Just aim for their feet.
Mm-hmm.
I think particularly a singles play, a lot of, again, I said at the top, a lot of tennis players start with singles. So it's like, I got to hit away from this person. And with doubles, you actually hit right at someone a lot more frequently than you think. The trick is you just got to keep it low. You got to go down at their, so if you pull them forward like that, you can go down at their feet with the next one. They're probably either going to miss it, pop it up, put the next one away. But one of the things that Martina Navratilova told me, just very simply put, she just said, in doubles, you want to be hitting down and you want your opponents hitting up. And if you can do that, it's not about getting the ball by someone. I mean, you'll have plenty of opportunities to hit by someone, but you want to be hitting down. You want your opponents to be hitting up. And if you get good at that, you're going to win a lot of doubles matches.
It's good stuff.
Yep.
It's good stuff. And I think too, one thing I remember as a junior that I was always being taught and trying to to do is to hit a solid deep volley. But I remember watching that video that Martina said, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to hit a great deep volley. And sure, if you hit a great, solid, firm, deep volley and it can actually push the opponent back, that's certainly a great shot. And you're probably going to get a lot of weak results. But lots of times when we're trying to do that, it actually lands, like she was saying in the Will Hamilton awesome video. Lots of times it lands here, it goes right to their waist, and that's when you end up getting lobbed or passed and tattooed, and you feel like, why the heck am I doing this? And
it just becomes hard. If someone is set up, like if they're on balance and they're set up, forehand or backhand, it's really hard to predict what shot they're going to hit.
Yeah.
You just have no information, right? You're not getting any information from their body language. So a deep volley is great if they're moving back, or you take time away and they're rushed, but you'll be able to visually see that. But if they're just lining up to take a swing at it, I mean, they could go down the line, they could go cross court, they could dip it at your feet, they could lob you. I mean, you can't cover everything in that situation. So you're sort of just reacting at that point. And that's what you're trying to avoid, is reacting.
Yeah. This guy right here, Will, this is, I was telling you about his channel. He's got
I see it because I know I've heard you by reputation, because Ian Westerman features a lot. Ian's a very good friend of both of ours. And Ian uses a lot of your video. So I was like, that's an amazing name for a channel, or just tennis troll. That's hilarious to me. So nice to officially meet. Very well done on the name.
Yes. Guys, check it out. And he says, would you consider hitting short on a low volley in singles?
Absolutely. All the time. All the time, particularly like short and low to the backhand is a great one. And a lot of times you can do it. If you're in a baseline rally, if you slice just short and low to pull them in, to get them to hit a low backhand of some sort. Like particularly if you're playing like a player who doesn't like to come to the net, right? You're not necessarily drawing them in, because a lot of times they'll just start backing up. But what you can do is you can pull them in with that slice, so they're hitting inside the baseline, and then they're going to start backing up, and then you just hit your next shot, top spin, deep right back at them. And then they're going to be hitting a backhand moving backwards, which is the hardest shot to hit pretty much. And then you're going to get a short ball, and then you can crush a approach shot. You can hit it short again if they're way behind the baseline at that point. But yeah, the low volley, if you've gotten to the net, is a great one, because the one thing it doesn't give someone a clean rip at a passing shot, right? Like a lot of times people come to net and then they hit a volley, and it's the same thing we talked about before. They hit a volley, but the person's not pressured, or they're on the run, but they get a clean full swing at the ball. And so they can, a lot of players can hit good passing shots that way. And then you end up trying to overcook a lot of the volleys, because you need to go for more and more. So the short low volley is great. And even if they get to it, if the racket is below the net, you can almost this would take you'd have to experiment with this. But sometimes when I hit that shot, I actually back up a little bit, because they might lob me. They might attempt to lob. It's not going to be a good one. But if they get to that and they get it over the net, your next shot can just be a lob over them, because their momentum is going to continue to carry them to the net, and then you just lob them on the next shot. So your goal at that point is just to get to the ball they hit, right? You don't need to hit a spectacular shot. You just need to make sure that you're going to be able to run down whatever they hit to you. And then you just lob them, and then the point's probably over at that point. They're going to get to it or not, then they're going to 100% lob the next shot, and then you hit no.
Then they're toast.
Yeah. So a lot of it, it's like, the cliche is chess. The cliche is you're moving the pieces around. It makes a big difference. A lot of the times just you hit a shot that seems like a decent shot, but it gives people way too many options.
Yeah. Jorge, who talks about that, who's going to be on tomorrow. He talks about, lots of times when you hit the ball solid, it feels great. And then you're like, how come I'm getting tattooed out there? And it's like a lot of solid balls. It feels good, but they're landing, in the same spot, and they're bouncing right into the other person's waist. And if they're better at hitting, ball at their waist than you're better at hitting the ball at the waist, then you're probably going to lose. Where if you just start to really navigate their entire body and grade them from A to F. Like, how do they handle a ball at their waist, on the forehand, on the backhand? How about at their knees? How about above their chest? And then you start to give them more of what they don't like, then you might be winning that day. So
Yeah.
thought that was really
Meredith
cool.
asked a question. I'm going to ask her to clarify. She says, that's what happened to me often. I'm aggressively coming in. I hit low, and then they lob over my head in doubles. So how do I avoid that? So Meredith, can you clarify, like, what formations are you guys in? Are you hitting an approach shot, cross court at a baseline player, but you say you're keeping it low? So I'm assuming you're saying I'm aggressively coming in. That means you're aggressive with your movement, and then you hit it. I'm assuming maybe a low slice. I'm assuming you're not hitting an aggressive approach shot. Anyway, if you could clarify, we could probably work that out a little bit. Better for you.
One thing that I think people do that maybe Meredith is doing, I'm just going to take a stab at this, is Meredith, she said she's moving aggressively towards the net. I see a lot of people running. They're still running because they're trying to get to a certain spot on the court while the opponent is hitting. And so they're not balanced before the shot and, not ready to move any direction, including backwards. Yeah. So they easily get lobbed. Another thing they do is a place I call the secret no man's land, right? We know this is no man's land, but a lot of people will hit a volley here and then they just stay here and then they get lobbed in the very next ball. Yeah. If you're volleying here and you don't put the ball away, you got to back up a little bit and reposition. Otherwise, you're just standing here and you're like, well, the coach keeps telling me to close the net, so I'm closing the net. You're going to get lobbed unless when you close, you absolutely put it away. If you go and you try and get it and you don't put it away, you got to reposition so you can handle a lob. So maybe that's happening to you, Meredith.
Well, it sounds like Meredith, are you volleying it at another net player, or are you volleying it at a baseline player here? It sounds like you hit low to their feet. Are they at the baseline or are they at the net?
Yeah.
Because that would require clarification.
Okay, guys.
Well, I'm just trying to. I think Meredith is going to answer this in a second.
Okay. So we'll let Meredith. We will let Meredith do that for sure.
It sounds like she gets. It sounds like you answered part of the question where she gets super close.
Yeah.
And so, well, that's interesting. So you're hitting it down at them, and then are they scooping it off the ground? You might almost want to like if the ball's bouncing. So one of my favorite shots, it's hard. I can't really demonstrate it right now, but I call it the pooper scooper because you're just in the ready position and you're at the net. And if someone like hits an overhead or sticks a volley at you and it's low, you just turn the racket face almost like you're scooping poop, but you're just for a lefty, I would turn my palm down, and if you're right-handed, you would turn your palm down the other way, and that just orients the strings facing up, so you can actually get volleys that they hit at you, and then it'll bounce off your strings and be automatically a lob over someone's head. It's one of my favorite shots because obviously it's like if you win a point like that, you're like, come on.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're reflexing it up. Okay, so you might want to slightly adjust it and just aim for their kneecaps or hips. If they won't get mad at you, but that can become a lot more difficult to get to orient the racket. Like if you're going right at them, go for their forehand hip. Then they have to slide to the side to get the racket out of the way, and that might be tougher. Or just don't hit it at them at all. That's obviously another one. Just go through the hole in the middle between the two. But that can sometimes. So Mirabon finally joined. Did you?
Yeah, Mirabon.
Yeah. Mirabon knows what's up with the pooper scooper because I have used it against him, and it might be the greatest shot of all time.
So guys, if you're on the court and Will is using the pooper scooper against you, and Meredith, I think this is maybe one thing that's happening to you too, and I think it's worth mentioning for everybody, is we've talked a lot about, hitting down and the other opponents hit up, closing the net. This is all good, but what I find is people lose so many heartbreaking points because, like Meredith said, she's aggressive, she's going. So it sounds like her body is really, really going quickly. And probably when I see people use their body fast, their hands also go fast, and they also tend to break their wrist when they volley. And so you put it down right in front of your opponent, and then it bounces up enough to where they can do whatever. And then you've taken such momentum, you hit down on them, and then all they got to do is just basically get any kind of, string on the ball, and it goes over your head. So make sure when you're going to close to try and keep your hands still and be more precise and tell a story where you want the ball to go. Have the strings finish precisely there. And like Will was saying, a lot of times when it's going low, it's a lot of times better to go, at their shins or at their hips, not necessarily at their feet. Because a lot of times when you go at their feet, if you're consistently putting the ball in front of their feet and not literally at their feet, this is when you get in trouble by playing aggressive. Because then they just do Will's shot, and you're not happy.
That's a really good. So a slight change in wording might actually make a big difference. Don't go at their feet, go through their feet.
Yeah.
I think that, when you're going at someone at the net, you want to go quote unquote through them. You want to hit you want the ball, if their body wasn't there, to bounce after it passes where their body would have been. Yeah. So if it's bouncing in front of them, that's bad, because then they can't get a racket on it.
Very cool. Have we done all the tips, my friend, tonight?
That's really good. We ended up going off on there were 20, I feel like, in there. We were going on some tangents, covering all sorts of stuff. But hopefully everybody found it helpful. Hope you guys. We got Timo. So my mom is from Sweden. Timo. So right across the Baltic Sea from you. I think it's a Baltic Sea. It's not. I'm embarrassing.
Well, I had a very good time tonight. I hope you enjoyed going live with us, Will.
Yeah, this was great, man. Yep, I was right about Baltic Sea. Got it.
What I'm going to do, maybe Will can see if he's got any more questions he wants to answer.
Wait, no, hold on. I'm losing my mind right now. No, I was right.
I'm going to put Will's link in there. This is his link. He's giving away 15 bonus tips from the Bryan brothers that he filmed that no one has seen yet. And I'm also going to review tomorrow. So I want to bring up the screen just so you guys can be prepared tomorrow. You should be getting an email from me between 8 and 9 a.m. Whether you're a member or a non-member, I'm going to put 2 links in the email. So even if you're having trouble logging in or whatever, you're going to be able to go to a link no matter what that does not require a user and a password. And so tomorrow is Hit Bigger with Better Technique. Will, is that up on the screen? Can you see that?
I got it. Yep.
Okay. So tomorrow you're going to be able to see how to become a big aggressive baseliner everybody fears to play. This is by Top Tennis Training, Alex and Simon. Alex is a hitting partner to Roger Federer, the Bryan Bros. He basically, when it was the end of the year championship at the O2 Arena, he hit with all those people, the top 10 players in the world. And he actually played, I think he played all the majors except for the French. I forget.
He played the Bryans in doubles at Wimbledon.
What's that?
Alex played the Bryans in doubles at Wimbledon. So I've hung out with Alex and Simon a couple times.
They're cool.
Yeah, they're great guys. But Alex was telling me he played the Bros and said Bob's serve was unreturnable, basically. Just this nasty lefty kick slider thing.
Yeah. And here's a little preview of the video. I'm really being adventurous now.
Hey everyone, Simon here with Top Tennis Training, and welcome to TennisCon 2020. In this video, we're going to show you how to become a more consistent but aggressive baseliner. So the first part of the lesson will show you exactly how to build that consistency. Next, we'll show you how to build points using high percentage patterns of play. And finally, we'll show you how to take time away from your opponents by hitting the ball on the rise, reducing the risk on your side, but increasing the risk of unforced errors for your opponent.
Simon's got a really clean technique. It's just very simple. There's not a lot of extraneous motion in there. He's not as good as Alex, but he was a pro. I think he was challenger level or something like that. The guy can bowl.
The guy is awesome, and he's great with both hands too.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Amphibious.
This is John Craig.
I realized I didn't say ambidextrous. That's a Shaquille O'Neal joke.
This is John Craig. He's going to teach you on the slice. Great instructor.
Good looking slice.
Hi, my name is John Craig with Performance Plus Tennis, and I'm pleased to be working with Peter Freeman and being a part of TennisCon 4. And in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play and build a professional quality slice backhand in 30 days. In modern tennis,
I need to watch that one.
Mostly on topspin, but underspin has a very valuable place in modern tennis as well. And you can use the slice backhand to create so many shots and so many effects that can disrupt your opponent, keep you inside points, help you do so many different things. So we're going to teach you the fundamentals of the slice backhand and show you the reasons why you want to have a slice backhand and give you lots of different options on how to use it to become an effective weapon in your game.
I love that little ending. Anyway, lots of great videos. A video with Sam Querrey teaching you how to hit the forehand.
Oh, you got Sam?
Yeah, Scott and
Boo.
Nate.
Boo. Scott and Nate.
I want to show you guys this guy. Watch this guy, Will. He's a new guy I found on YouTube. He is amazing. He's so good.
Okay.
Watch this.
That guy's good.
Yeah.
Wore out the baseline on that grass court.
That guy's awesome. He's called the Tennis Mentor. And he actually started his channel when COVID happened because he wanted to do it.
Not quite as good of a name as Tennis Troll, but we'll let it slide.
Yeah. This is online tennis instruction.
Hello, Greg Lasser for online tennis instruction. Today's lesson, I'm going to show you a routine or progressions on how to work on your drop volley and drop shot. So when Pete came to me and said that our goal is to help you to improve your game in 30 days, immediately I thought about the drop shot and drop volley because a couple of reasons. A lot of times adults don't develop the soft hands and touch which you need to be able to play all over the court. Also, I've found that when I've worked with players who, on the ground strokes, possibly grip down too tightly trying to generate power through force, immediately when you introduce the drop shot or drop volley, they're able to then soften the hands, which interesting enough improves the ability to add power with control because they're simply tapping into the natural spring effect of the strings.
I mean, guys, there's a lot of value in these videos. I mean, all these instructors, you can just tell from the intro that these are all great lessons. There's Maribon.
Boo. Boo.
Well, this guy's from Italy. Super nice guy. This guy right here was Naomi Osaka's hitting partner at the U.S. Open. Let's just watch him hit a couple balls. He's pretty awesome. Watch this.
My buddy represents Naomi.
Oh yeah,
Stu Duguid. He's the same guy that helped me do the Navratilova deal, actually.
Oh, cool. Big. Oh. Anyway, we got good stuff. So make sure you check out tomorrow. This guy, Ellis Ferrer, won.
Ellis is great. Yeah, he won a couple majors.
Won the Aussie Open with Rick Leach.
Yeah. Ellis is. I know Ellis. He's a great guy. Great guy.
One-hand backhand presentation. Forehand velocity presentation. We're gonna have another bonus video from Tennis Express. So be ready tomorrow. Be looking at your email. If you look at this and go, man, this is a lot of good stuff. I want to be able to watch this forever, or I'm just going to be too busy to watch tomorrow. I know I'm going to miss a couple of days. definitely consider getting lifetime access pass, especially tonight off Will's link, because you're going to get access to everything I just showed you Monday through Friday. You'll have it forever. Plus you got 4 big bonuses to where you can get my 30 power secrets that actually I use a couple from Will and Dr. Mark Kovacs in there. Just 1-minute tips that you guys can watch that instantly add 5 to 15 miles an hour. You're going to get a 30-day No Man Left Behind challenge. And why I do that, and Will kind of made a joke, I think he must have heard me say it one time, is I don't want this collecting internet dust to where you don't use it. So you're going to get an email for 30 days, 1 to 3 lessons. And plus I'm going to have a link. It's called the Video Ask. It's really cool to where you can just click on it and you can ask me a question, send me a video, send me an audio message, and I will come on with my face and I'll respond to you. I'll give you coaching and answer your question. I've actually been doing it for customer service questions. If people can't log in or have a question about purchasing the course, you should have it in your emails to where you can ask me a question and I come on, so you can actually see how that works. We've got 10, you'd like tonight's live stream. I picked out my 10 best live streams of TennisCon All-Stars. Gigi's in there. Will, I think you might actually be one of the 10 as well. Yeah. And then I got the best of the legends. These are 20 videos, interviews with Laver, Newcomb, Emerson, Mark Woodford, Johan Creek, the Jensen Bros, Brian Gottfried, Rick Leach. It's awesome. Like each one of these, I feel confident I could sell it all day for $67.97, but these are just the bonuses. So I'm going to put Will's link in one more time. So before you go to bed, buy off Will's link. So then when I get going in my day around 3 or 4 o'clock, I'm going to look at all the people that bought, and I'm going to add everybody who bought off Will's link. I'm going to add his 15 plays from the Brian Bros. So
if you're a doubles player, you will get a lot out of them.
Yeah.
They are awesome, particularly the return stuff, because it's sort of not conventional.
Yeah. And so I put it there in the chat. I also have it below in the description. And you guys have been amazing. Will, you've been amazing. Thank you. You came on at 8:15. It's 9:30. I mean, I appreciate it.
I have nothing better to do on a Monday night. That's actually not true. I got asked to play doubles tonight, and I had to turn it down. I had to turn it down to be with you, Peter, but I didn't.
Okay, so make it worth Will's while, okay? Because I don't want Will saying, well, you wasted my time, Pete.
We had a great time. This was awesome.
Okay.
It's cool when everybody joins. Like, I don't do enough of these lives. Like, I mean, what do we have, 200 people on this thing or something like that?
We had 260 people, and now we've been in an hour and a half, and like over 260, and we've been on an hour and a half, and we still have 152 people on, which is pretty amazing.
Troopers.
They're troopers. Yeah,
appreciate it. And Tennis Troll, thank you for the nice comments about the approach shot stuff. Happy to help, man.
All right. Everybody have a great night. Again, check out Will's link. TennisCon, I'll be sending email around between 8 and 9 tomorrow. I'll be checking your inbox. Yes, you guys, I'm sorry you're going to get a lot of emails this week, but this is how I communicate with you, okay? So please don't hate me. I'm just trying to do my best. All right, everybody have a great night. Will, you were awesome.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you taking the time.